How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for taking the time to meet with us today. I know you know a lot of the group and you know about the Alliance of Chambers. Obviously, we are recording this interview, so we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves again for those who may be watching. So I'm Tiffany Esposito. I'm with the Bonita Springs Chamber, and the Alliance of Chambers represents 8 chambers of commerce in Lee and Collier County, and 6,000 businesses and about 300,000 residents and constituents. So again, thank you.
Thank you.
Before we get started, we'll do some brief introductions. Donna, John, and Chris. Donna, we can't hear you.
Okay, she's Donna Germain, the President and CEO of the Cape Coral Chamber.
Perfect.
I'm John Lai, President and CEO of the Sanibel Captiva Chamber. Here to help, Donna.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Kevin. This is Chris Lopez, Chairman of the Southwest Florida Chamber and a consultant with the Alliance. Welcome.
Good morning, Chris.
So Kevin, for those of us, or for those that will be watching this recording and that don't already know you, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Kevin Ruane. Let me tell you a little bit about where I grew up and how I got here and why I'm involved in what I'm involved in. So I grew up in New York. I went to school at Pace University at night, undergraduate and graduate school, probably one of the most rigorous degree programs, both a undergraduate and graduate school in accounting and taxation. Did that for about 8 years and left, never finished my actual program, went into the family accounting business. But I was in corporate America, kind of learned accounting from the basics of a junior accountant all the way to CFO of a subsidiary of a Fortune 100 company, and left there prematurely just to go help a family. My dad was running an accounting firm. I took over the accounting firm. He had his 4th heart attack, and unfortunately his 5th killed him. But what we did and what we learned from working from Xerox and then working for myself is I was able to really build companies and understand the way businesses run. Sold both companies, came down to Southwest Florida to retire. Unfortunately, 2 weeks before I came, or 2 weeks after I came, I should say, Hurricane Charlie happened, hit Sanibel with a Category 4, and my mission in life changed to be a public servant. I raised my hand day one, saw the devastation of Sanibel and asked how I could help. I've been involved for the last 16 years, 14 years in office. A little bit about what I did in office. I came in office in 2007, Sanibel had 2 issues that were most pressing. One, we were on the verge of filing bankruptcy. We had a pension system that was only funded at 47%. We had a budget of approximately $60 million, about $100 million worth of debt. Like I stated before, the pension system was only half funded, about $400,000 in reserves, and the highest tax rate ever. And then to couple that, we had 3 feet of red drift algae on the beach. It would literally come beyond my waist. And those are my 2 campaign issues. 13 years later, I'm still fighting water to be really the vocal and the advocate for water quality and water quantity. But more importantly, turn Sanibel around. Today, I'm proud to say that we have $18.2 million worth of debt. I've cut taxes 26%. I've put that budget back into really good shape with $12 million in reserves. And the pension system's funded at 93.3%. I thought with the skill set that I had during these times, water quality being my passion and the financial aspects, I thought I would be best qualified. When Governor DeSantis got in office, it really motivated me to continue to seek higher office. During I had indicated in 2017, I believe in term limits. So I decided that we were in my last term. John Manning decided to retire. I decided to run for Lee County Commission.
So you jumped ahead a little bit of us because our next question is what prompted you to run for office. So if you'd like to elaborate on that.
Sure. I mean, you know what? I never envisioned myself as a politician. The good news for 13 years, I've worked for free. So I don't feel like I owe anybody anything. I don't feel any group. I don't feel any special interest. But what motivated me was I saw a community come together like I've never seen a community. I saw the best in people during Hurricane Charlie and just really got involved. A gentleman by the name of Mick Denham was running for city council. He asked me to be his treasurer. So I said yes. A couple years later, he asked if I would fill a seat on the Sanibel City Council for 60 days. And that was almost 14 years ago.
Great. What makes you qualified to represent the business community?
First and foremost, I walk in your shoes every day. We have 5 companies. I employ over 300 people. We have offices in 5 states. I've grown up not only working for one of the best decentralized companies called Xerox, learned from that. I had a dad who was an entrepreneur, learned to do that and run an accounting firm, sold it, very successful, and had an equipment finance company that we sold. And then I re-energized it back in 2006, and we're probably bigger than we've ever been. So I understand what it is, not only to make a paycheck, but how to grow a business. And I've really been successful in doing so.
In your opinion, what is the most pressing issue facing the Southwest Florida business community? And if elected, what would you do to address this issue?
It's COVID-19. We are probably in the midst of the greatest recession we're ever going to see. I thought that to be the case in 2007, 2008, and dealt with that firsthand. You know, records are actually good to have, and I'm very proud of my track record. I made the tough decisions when I had to make the tough decisions. Started to do that. I was the first proactive city during COVID to actually make the necessary adjustments, understanding that revenue was declining rapidly. Made the necessary adjustments that every household has to do so. So I bring that skill set to the table. The business community also have connected with over the years on water quality. Understand the economics of how water quality impacts tourism, real estate, and all the effects and trickle-down effects. So I think I'm best qualified because I have a track record of actually achieving the things I said I would. And I have, you know, obviously relationships I built not only in Washington, but also here in Tallahassee. I was appointed by 2 governors, really rare, the South Florida Ecosystem Task Force, Governor Scott, and only about 2% of Governor DeSantis's appointments were really from Governor Scott. He got rid of most of the people, but I was fortunate to go through 2 administrations and be appointed for a second time.
So as you know, Southwest Florida's economy is heavily dependent on the leisure and hospitality sectors. If elected, what would you do to encourage economic diversification in the region?
So what we need to do is, the Horizon Council has done a good job, and many years ago when I sat on that, I thought it would be best to break the Horizon Council into 2 paths. 1, acquiring new companies to come here, and 2, working with the existing businesses that are already here. They've made the investment, they've bought into the school systems. So, and again, having developed businesses, what I envision, like in my business, where we do lending throughout the United States and we work with franchises, and you have preferred vendors. So I can envision the EDO actually coming up with preferred vendors, helping businesses, whether you need banking, and here are banks that actually lend money, here are banks that could help you with merchant services and things of that nature. So I've walked in your shoes, I know what it is, I know what the community wants. Having been involved in the Tourist Development Council for a number of years, understanding the way bed tax is, understanding the pieces. So whether it's EDO, whether it's bed tax, I understand, and have been ingrained in this community for 13 years. You've all gotten to know me, and I walk the walk and talk the talk. But I tell people all the time, Google me, my track record is there. It's very, very unique in itself.
So 2 questions on water quality, because we know that that's a top priority. If elected, what specific projects would you advocate for to improve and protect Southwest Florida's water quality?
Well, water quality and water quantity, I look into 2 different aspects. So quantity is about projects, okay? There's currently 68 projects on the IDS schedule. The greatest return on investment certainly would be the EAA, okay? That would obviously be what is most people want. We have a flowway south. Continue to advocate for the funding for that. But to do the funding and do the advocacy that you have to walk the walk and talk the talk. So what I've done, and I'm president of the Florida Mayors, president of Florida League of Mayors, and what I've done is put together an alliance, continue to do that. We started many years ago in Southwest Florida, getting the mayors together and liaison to that. But it's really having one advocacy to talk about that, and then promoting water quality to be the issue, because it's really difficult to ask for funding in Tallahassee or Washington when you're not walking the walk and talking the talk. So locally, what I envision is working on fertilizer ordinances and having stricter rules than ever before, working on stormwater runoff, actually going and converting the septic tanks and having testing for the septic tanks when they're not performing well. You know, the interesting thing, Tiffany, is last year, Sanibel had the fortune of receiving $500,000 for the last 14 septic tanks to be connected to sewer. We'll be 100% sewered. But we were one community and the only community in Southwest Florida that actually applied for the grant. When I talked to Bartlett, when I talked to some of the people in the administration, they said, Mayor, we'll put more money in for septic conversions, but more people have to apply.
Yeah.
So I think part of the process is walking the walk on water quality, doing all you can, and then obviously making sure the projects get funded. And it's easy to advocate. When I go up and talk to people in Tallahassee, I said it, Sanibel has put $120 million into water quality. It's a lot more compelling for them to give us the necessary funding. And Lee County's done a great job in doing so. And we just need to have a constant voice that'll always have and be the water champion. And I believe I've demonstrated that over the years.
Thank you. Elaborating on that a little bit, what specific actions do you think lawmakers should take to improve and protect Southwest Florida's waterways?
Well, first and foremost, I think we look at having a real strict fertilizer ordinance, because it really is where some of the sources of pollution are. The second thing I would do is I would always have an inspection for septic tanks, whether you want to have it at a 3 or 5 year cycle, or whether you want to have it when real estate changes hands. But I think it's really important to identify where we have our breaches and where we have our leaches and address those as you would in any situation that is urgent. So you go and address those. Stormwater runoff is something that we deal with every day, and reclaimed water. Many cities, the city of Sanibel has gone through a $24 million conversion of using our reclaimed water. So we get to reuse water a second time, removing nitrogen and phosphate. We were fortunate enough to go to Tallahassee and get the necessary, not only planning and design, but then actually the construction aspects of that. The good news is I can share the planning and design that we did and the scientific information with other communities. And I assured everyone in Tallahassee I would do that. So again, having the reach and having the connections throughout the state of Florida to talk to so many mayors, having led them and said, okay, here's some of the things we do. So again, when we start to think of water quality, right here in our own backyard, it has to start. And it really has to be, we have to be the kingpin. We need to be the leaders in that regard.
Thank you. One last question. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about you or your priorities?
Sure. Well, my priorities, and I want an opportunity to indicate it's been an honor to serve Sanibel for 13 years. My priorities is to try to help this economy come back from COVID-19. Having been in the business world, having developed businesses my entire life, knowing what it is to employ 300 people, I get what you go through. Secondarily, I've been a great steward making the tough decisions. I'm the only one in this race that has a proven track record that has actually cut taxes and not raised taxes. I'm the only in this community that's been the water quality champion here. Throughout Southwest Florida, we'll continue to advocate. With the years of experience I have and the connections I have being on most of the prestigious boards, I look forward to the opportunity to continue to help Southwest Florida. Let's remember one thing. This is home. This is home for my son and my daughter. And the reason I run are for those reasons. I've been a public servant for 13 years. I haven't gotten paid. I don't expect to get paid when I move to the next office. And certainly just want you to look at my track record, look at my actual results, because you know what? Actions are priceless. Talk is cheap, and you're going to hear a lot of talk on this campaign trail. Look at my track record, look at what I've done. Most people know me, but I understand your needs, and I think I've been shown over the years I am really business friendly. But for anyone that wants to get in touch with me, it's votekevinruane.com. You can go to my website. Feel free to contact us. We've always been available. I'm the person that I think is best qualified to lead this community during the most challenging times, not only for water quality and where we are right now, because funding is really going to be in jeopardy right now with the budget issues we have, but dealing with the budget, making the tough choices and balancing a budget for 13 years, I bring that to the track. So I appreciate the opportunity. I really appreciate all you've done to bring the chambers together to work as one. I think it's great, and I wish you all the success.
Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. And we wish you luck in the election.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Have a great day, all.
Thanks so much, Kevin.